Okay, recording this video for Close Trade Wednesday, 16th of July 2014. I'm just recording a really quick intro to the Euro video that I recorded before the US Open last night, my time. So I'm going to put that up. It's talking about the setup for this sell-off in the Euro, which is getting very interesting. So listen to that. But I just want to point out with today's activity, Wednesday's activity in the E-mini, we have a triple going on in the higher time frame tip bar charts. So these are the high time frame tip bar charts I look at, starting at 4,500. 3 times that is 13,500. 3 times that is 40,500. And you can see here we've got resistance, resistance, and resistance on those 3 time frames. And what's interesting about those resistance is it's happened after a blow-off move. So let me just show you the highest time frame tip bar charts. You know, over the last 10 days or so, we've had exhaustion patterns, you know, a left shoulder being made, then exhaustion patterns, bearish divergence, and a flush pattern here. So in terms of volume, momentum, and demand, we've done a lot of work on the upside in order to flush everybody out, to kind of get exhausted with the buying volume kind of going up here. We can't get through 1975, and then with today's activity, what I find really important is these blue professional bars that came in during the middle of the day. On a very high time frame chart here on the 40,000 tip frame chart, you often see these bars at the end of the day because that's when the pros are kind of trading. But to see them active just before the end of the day, kind of middle of the day there, is a little bit unusual. So what they're doing is really important. We can't get through the highs of those blue professional bars, and I call this a last roll of the dice. So we've had a trending move like this. We've ended up with left shoulder, we're testing, we come back up, and this is like the last roll of the dice for the professionals to get short. So we've had a left shoulder being made, we come back up, and blue professional bars get stuck in this little tick up that we can't get through. We break the lows of those blue professional bars heading down. That's their last opportunity to kind of get short for the next kind of swing down. So that's important from my perspective. I'm looking at that. You know, obviously we've had some really incredibly strong markets, just keeps on breaking up and up, but now, you know, the Yellen testimony is kind of out of the way. That for me is really important, particularly when it comes with a triple resistance setting up on those time frames. So I'm going to look for some, you know, weakness over the next couple of days and see where that goes. But anyway, have a listen to the Euro video that I'm attaching on here. As I said, it was recorded just before, you know, the breakdown really started to get going during the European Opens session, but I'm expecting continued weakness in the Euro, and hopefully I'll explain why. Anyway, hope your trading is going well. Okay, here we go. Here are the Euro charts I wanted to talk to because I put out something on Google Plus. It was just a chart I put out about 10 days ago, and I was waiting for a sell-off in the Euro. Because of this straight line pattern. Market doesn't like straight lines, better momentum does not like straight lines. We always get a jaggedy pattern from this. So let me just talk through these charts. This is a daily and the weekly chart of the Euro. It's got all the better indicators on, so better momentum, better pro-am, better sine wave. And we're in a downtrend on the Euro. So we peaked out at the beginning of this year with a pullback to end of trend signal here, and then we had this mega down move. I think there was a Draghi was speaking at the time. We had this just huge sell-off, 2 days continuation, blue professional bars selling down. We know they're selling because we never even got close to the highs of these bars to kind of come back through the highs. We just crashed through the lows and kind of kept on going. But the last kind of interesting pattern that we had was this big blue professional bar. Again, it was another kind of Draghi speech. The Euro started to sell off really hard on that day and then closed on the highs because everybody just got a little bit too excited on the downside. And I said, we need to wait until this kind of the highs and lows of this thing are resolved. And then we went through an interesting pattern. We had this sell-off, but it was amateur down bars. So we get the amateurs are selling it down, so we get a bounce back. We bounce back to the top of the range, top of those amateur bars, and actually just poke above the blue professional bar kind of briefly. So the amateurs are a little bit confused. They think it's kind of going to go to new lows, and we've kind of crept all the way back up. But notice here the pattern on better momentum. We got our exhaustion pattern and bullish divergence kind of comes in. This is setting this move off. We'll need to see one of these on a daily chart before this trend move is over on the downside. So bullish divergence comes in, another couple of little patterns here, and this thing is like a straight line, you can see. Market does not like that. The market likes to see jaggedy patterns, particularly with volume. We need to see extremes of emotion in order to kind of set things off. And what that shows is that we've just been creeping up and up with less and less kind of selling volume until we finally get a resolution bang with a big move down. Now oftentimes this ends up with a flush pattern that's kind of pretty deep, deeper than the pullback level, the bullish divergence level here, and close to the exhaustion pattern. This little move down that we had here was not kind of enough, and it didn't really come with any kind of professional kind of work. So yesterday's activity was a big blue professional down bar, and overnight, so this is during the European session at the moment, we're breaking down at 35.5, 135.5, breaking the lows of that blue professional bar. We're going to have a big down move, which will end up with an extreme kind of sell pattern on these daily charts. It'll take a couple of days to kind of work itself to that exhaustion pattern, but we're in the throes of it at the moment. So we're underneath resistance, so we're playing out resistance down to a support level here. We've broken support on the weekly chart after this end of trend, so we're in a downtrend now on the weekly chart. The daily chart, everything's kind of going in its favor for a down move. The low of this bar was basically 135 even. We're at 135.5. As soon as we get close to 135 even, there's going to be fireworks kind of down here, and this thing's going to, over the next couple of days, going to keep on falling. Why do I think that? We've got some other kind of confirmation. We've got the commitment of traders numbers kind of came out this weekend, and it's all down, all pointing down. So remember, I take the commitment of traders and I flip them upside down, because that way I can see price moving close to in this similar pattern as the commitment of traders numbers. Gives me bullish and bearish divergence patterns, and in the background here we got bearish divergence pattern here from this higher high, but commitment of traders was lower high, so we've got a divergence pattern here, and then we're all negative here. We're kind of, everything's kind of pointing down. We've got another divergence pattern like here in the background. You can see these other ones, they're quite nice kind of longer term kind of moves. So all of that's kind of flowing in the right direction. On the flip side of that, we've also got dollar indexes kind of going up. So yesterday we had a pretty strong day, blue professional up bar day. We've been talking about the strength in the dollar index after we had this U-turn. So up until this point here I was bearish on the dollar index, and now I turned bullish because we had this U-turn pattern here where they sold it off, the professionals picked it up and then forced it all the way back. We came back to test into that area where the professionals have been anxious to buy it, and they picked it up again, and now we're getting going for the next one. So blue professional bars yesterday, they're kind of anxiously buying the dollar index. We're breaking above the highs of that. That shows that they were buying there, and we could be going into a nice trend move on the weekly chart as this thing breaks above weekly resistance into a trend move. So this is interesting. This is dollar index kind of going up. And then looking at the commitment of traders, we've also got the flip side of what the euro is. The euro is kind of largest component of dollar index, and then here we go, nice kind of positive numbers here. We got bullish divergence in the background on the weekly chart. We've also got bullish the monthly chart. We've also got bullish divergence there. So all of this is a big kind of bottoming out pattern. We've just been waiting. We had a nice little advance away. We came back into test, kind of waiting for a signal. What do the professionals do? Are the amateurs getting wrong-footed? Well, the professionals have just signaled to us yesterday during Yellen's kind of speech what they're doing. They're buying that dollar index going up. So that's two charts there. Just another thing, I kind of referred to this from time to time. It's kind of a handy little pattern for me. Just looking at the different time frames using better sine wave. And I paint these up and down bars based on breakouts of support and resistance. And you can go down from high time frames, so monthly, weekly, daily, down to 460 minute charts, and that gives you roughly a ratio of 3. I think there are 3 460 minute bars in a day chart. Day to week is 4 to 5 kind of ratio. Week to month is 4 kind of ratio. It just allows us quickly with some easy data kind of manipulation here to give us what's going on. So on the 460 minute chart, we're below resistance. We're in a downtrend. We're all white bars here on better sine wave. Same thing on the daily chart. We're below resistance here. We've broken under the weekly support. We're in a downtrend here, and we've overshot just briefly better sine wave on a monthly chart, and we're kind of turning down. So all the energy is pointing down on the dollar index. Flip side of that is the on the euro. On the dollar index is the flip side of that. So we've made on this 440 minute chart here pullback to end of trend, and we're now above that kind of little trending move there. So red bars showing us above support. We're going here. We're above support on the daily chart. we're under resistance, weekly resistance, but I think we're going to break that in the next few days, or week or so, and kind of break into an uptrend on the weekly chart. We're above support on the monthly chart here, so you can use kind of multiple time frames. This is an important kind of timing point for the dollar index and for the euro. We've been testing these lows, taking a long time to find this kind of support level down here, the 78, 79 level, and then we've got a chance with this kind of move here to break above 81 to take us above this resistance into a trend move on the dollar index and a downtrend, strong downtrend move on the euro. So there we go. That's what I'm seeing on my charts with the euro.